Welcome to Front Page. In 1947, a newly independent India stood before the world. We, of course, were a nation with a broken economy, but what was wonderful was the fact that we had an unbreakable will and we wanted to construct our own future. We called it a tryst with destiny. Fast forward to today, February 2026. We are standing at the edge of a second independence movement, but this time around, the territory isn't land, it's intelligence. For 30 years, we've been the world's back office. We were the people the West called at 3 a.m. to fix their tech issues, while they sat in the captain's chair. But this week, at the India AI Impact Summit in New Delhi, the power dynamic is changing hands. This is the first time the Global South has grabbed the steering wheel of the most important invention since the steam engine. We are, of course, moving from a nation that supports technology to a nation that builds it. We put 10,000 crore rupees on the table to build a national brain that doesn't answer to Silicon Valley. We aren't just trying to keep up, we are declaring that the future of AI isn't going to be decided in a Palo Alto garage, it is going to be built in the heart of India. We believe this is India's digital sovereignty finally realized, and helping me talk about this and a lot more, as always, is the brilliant Mohit Pandey, who is our very own tech journalist, who covers the IT sector. He covers India AI startups, and of course, he also covers AI Bharat. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, Mohit? As always, a wonderful pleasure to have you with us.
I'm doing great, Sudhir. Thank you so much for having me today.
Pleasure.
Looking forward to this discussion.
Proud moment, no?
Yeah.
Mohit, how are you feeling? I mean, this is the first time that India is on the global stage with such a huge summit.
I mean, we at AIM have been talking about it for the last 3-4 years at least, that India should build sovereign AI models ever since GPT launched. And now, finally that it's happening, it feels like a very proud moment.
Yeah.
And finally things are taking shape.
Let's actually start, Mohit. I mean, I think the first thing that is a moment of focus for us as an ecosystem is the fact that we are going to be showcasing 2 models from our 12 founders who are the startups and people who are building up these models, Bharat Gen, Sarvam AI, and of course the others. The Prime Minister had met with them. This was about 3 weeks back, 4 weeks back. We'd done a story on it as well. It was more on the lines of like a catch-up or a progress report on where do we stand. How important do you feel is this moment for us?
Yeah, I was speaking to all these founders after they met Prime Minister Modi, and there was one statement that stood out of everyone, was the questions that our Prime Minister was asking them. That stood out for them, like how does this guy know so much about Indian AI? And apart from Sarvam and Bharat Gen, there are 6 more models that are going to come out. That is what India has said.
Would you like to shed some light on that?
Yeah, so basically Sarvam and Bharat Gen are building the base models, like the foundational models. So other companies like Socket, GAN, Gyani AI, and Fractal as well, and Tech Mahindra. So they are building models that are focused on specific sectors. They are also built from scratch.
Bharat Gen, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sarvam are the language models.
These are also the language models. It's like, for example, Sarvam and Bharat Gen are building the GPTs.
Sure.
And Tech Mahindra and everyone is focusing on specific sectors like healthcare, education. And so Socket AI is focusing on defense. Tech Mahindra is focusing on healthcare. So these are going to be models that are trained on that specific sector, specific data sets. So they can be specialized for that. If you, like, for example, you cannot ask medical questions to GPT, it will give some stupid answers. So they want to focus on those sectors.
Although, of course, that's another conversation, but GPT is going towards healthcare. But that brings me to this then, Mohit, that this 100,000 GPUs number then becomes all the more relevant, no? Because that's what the government is pushing for.
So they had 34,000 GPUs as of now. That is, I think, a mix of H100s and Intel GPUs and AMD GPUs. And I think Minister Ashwini Vaishnav is saying that they're going to get around 100K GPUs by the end of this year. So I mean, that is going to be a huge number. And I think most of those...
When you say a huge number, Mohit, as always, it would be nice for our viewers to understand the context in terms of the comparison. Because we always talk about it from the point of view of China and US, it being a 2-horse race. We, of course, are trying to make sure that we are part of that race and probably hopefully galloping ahead at some point.
I think when you compare it to OpenAI or maybe XAI, they have a lot more GPUs. But since we are starting out, we are focusing on specific sectors. And plus the one thing that I think is most important is most of these GPUs are going to focus on the inference part of AI now.
Fair.
Because the training I think has already been done. These models are already ready according to me. And they're just going to announce it at the Impact Summit. I think Servum's all these releases is an evidence for that.
Right.
So I think when it comes, but inference also requires a lot of GPUs.
Sure.
Because now these models are built. Now it's going to come to our smartphones, our laptops.
True.
So they have to keep running all the time.
Fair.
So I think we will obviously need more GPUs, but 100,000 is a good start, I think. As long as they are good GPUs like Blackwell.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I believe there was also discussions about maybe the B300s also coming into the fray as far as that is concerned.
So
but before I move on to the revenue aspect, Mohit, I wanted to ask you, there are going to be luminaries at the India AIM Summit.
Yeah.
What sort of an impression do you feel that these demonstrations or the launch of these indigenous models which have been made with a lot of hard work, what kind of an impression do you feel that do you expect it will create?
I think it's going to be a very great summit with, I think the most excited me personally is Sam Altman is coming again to India, and this, I think this is the first time Anthropic CEO is coming, I'm not sure. So that is something that is very interesting to me because we are competing with all these giants all this while.
True.
And finally they'll come to India and they'll see how our models are performing. Maybe they might be happier this time, not like the last time when Sam Altman came, but yeah, I hope, and it creates a great impression, right? Because as our ministers are saying, like this is like the biggest summit of the global south.
True.
So I think it's a great testament to what India can build, and now that we are focusing on use cases, I think it's like a very different, it's not even a competition with OpenAI or Anthropic anymore.
But why should we even think of it that way, to be honest?
That's what exactly we have been talking about, right? I think we discussed this as well last time, that the economic survey said that it's very expensive to build foundational models. And now that we have built foundational models, now we are focusing on use case. And I keep going back to, me and Amit used to talk about this, I think 1 year back, 1.5 year back, that Nandan Nilekani, he used to keep talking about that we shouldn't get into this race of building foundation models. We should focus on use case. And I think now people are finally realizing that he was actually right. But and I think people are understanding that. And even Jan LeCun used to talk about it when he came to Bangalore for one of the Meta AI Summit, that India should focus on the use cases.
Which makes sense also, Mohit, to be honest. I mean, why compete at something where you already know that it's a losing battle? Far ahead, leaps and bounds. So how about creating your own trajectory?
And yes, we have another battle that we can actually win on. For example, Servum. For the last week, they've been releasing so many models that are outperforming GPT and Gemini on indic tasks. So we have a battle that we can win on, and they can never win on that because we have our own benchmarks, we have our own data sets. I don't think GPT, Gemini, and all these models have ever seen an Oriya language model, or maybe Oriya text.
True.
So if we can outperform on that, I think we have a whole race, not even a race, we have a whole
There was another model which I believe has been released today, the Servum model.
Servum Arya. So it's not a model, it's an architecture. So basically, everyone is building a lot of AI agents, right? Claude Code, people have just gone crazy building agents. So what Servum has decided, they're going to make an orchestration layer, an orchestration platform. Now enterprises can use these Claude agents to assign agents specific tasks. So that is something that no one is actually talking about, that you're building all these agents. How will you enter them into enterprises?
True.
So Servum has cracked that part as well. So I think Indian engineers are now showing a lot of
initiative,
promise.
And of course, I'm also looking forward to Bulbul, the launch of Bulbul.
Yeah. Bulbul was actually launched, and it's a great model as well. It's in 22 Indic languages. And I haven't tried it myself, but I was looking at X, and a lot of people have already started building apps on it as well.
Nice.
So that is...
I believe it's free, right through February 2026.
Yes, it's free for this month. So yeah, it would be great if more people build apps and figure out how to use this model.
Okay. Let's get to this, Mohit, in terms of the revenue shift. What do you feel about that? So 200 plus industry models. Here is the fact, IT giants are moving. This is, of course, your wheelhouse. IT giants are, of course, now moving from cool demonstrations to the real money. Launching 200 plus models for banking, farming and hospitals, as you just mentioned. You glossed over that. What do you feel will the West use? While the West uses AI to write bad poetry, not that you use it, your poetry is wonderful. India is using it to run massive industries.
So I don't think I've ever shown you any of my poetry, but at the same time,
so is this the end of the research theatre is my final point.
So we've been talking about Indian IT for the last 2-3 episodes, right? That they're building a lot of AI agents, they're partnering with a lot of firms. But after the Prime Minister Modi met all these 12 startups, he also met CEOs of these IT firms like HCL Tech, Wipro and TCS. So the discussion over there was, one thing was about building these 200 plus models that are going to focus on farming, banking, hospitals, like the enterprise part. They are not focusing so much on the Bharat part of things that Sarvam and Bharajan are trying to do. They are trying to build models for enterprises. So that is going to be something very interesting, and the revenue shift is definitely going to happen. Because as we saw with this Anthropic shaking up the whole market, now Indian IT is going to say that we are going to build our own agents and we are ready to, there's no SaaS apocalypse that are going to happen anymore. So we are self-reliable. So the whole India Summit is just focusing on that self-reliable.
Just to be honest, very encouraging, Mohit. But because of the paucity of time, I know you and I have a lot more to, of course, speak about. But I'd like you to very quickly tell the viewers about tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which I feel has forever excited me. That and the fact that the $90 billion magnet, which is the 2047 bet, which I believe I've spoken to Prabhu also about, which is going to be the magical year. So these 2 points I want you to very quickly touch upon. And then finally, the job losses bit in terms of what's going on.
I think that is the favorite thing
which is right at the end.
Yeah,
that's
we
why
always
I've kept
talk
the
about
best for the last.
Layoff and job losses. It's sad, but it's okay. So I'll talk about the second question first, the $90 billion magnet. So basically during the budget we covered this, right? That the government has given a tax holiday till 2047. So a lot of these firms from like Google and Microsoft, they're going to come and build data centers. They're not going to pay any tax. So that is eventually going to increase the revenue. But then comes the sovereignty part. The point is there are still Google and Microsoft that are coming up and building data centers. So this is also, this tax holiday is also going to give benefits to Jio, Adani Connex, Airtel and all these companies that are building data centers. So that, I think someone posted on X, I don't remember the name today, that we kind of have to stop giving so much of our data into these models because we are actually just giving away our intelligence.
That's been going on for so long. That conversation has been going on for so long.
So I think this data center bet is something that is very important. And coming to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities part, that is something, so there, I think when the government selected those 8 additional startups after the 4th ones, they also announced some 200 AI labs in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So basically these labs are about upskilling the people that are working so that they can maybe work for the data centers, maybe build up new startups, new initiatives. So that is something that is also very amazing. I'll have to check with more cities that are building these. I don't remember the exact names, but there are a lot of cities in Madhya Pradesh and all these states. So, and as you know that these cities have mostly not spoken so much about AI. So I think the whole pan-India movement kind of a thing, that is a good thing.
It's a big shot in the arm, I feel. I think that'll be a big one. But very quickly, 2 things which have stood out for me. The fact that yes, our states, different states have AI policies as far as the states are concerned. But what about the national AI policy? That is one. Very quickly, what are your thoughts on that? The fact that we are calling the world to us, and what is their feeling going to be that if we don't have an AI policy? That's one. Second, very quickly, I want you to tell me about the job perspective, because we are looking at the figures. I'll, as always, share with you. I know these figures give you nightmares, and you wake up at night sweating. 6 million people in IT are at risk of losing repetitive tasks. We've discussed this till the cows come home, and they still haven't.
So when it comes to the policy part, I'll give you a little bit of a personal perspective. I think we are a little too early in the game of AI development, at least India, to build very large policies or policies make sense. Regulations, I don't think so.
Kill the creativity of
I think so. But at the same time, it is also said that regulations actually boost people's creativity because they're able to. But I think it's a little bit.
From a very interesting point of view. Thank you, Mohit.
But I think policy, I think they might be framing a lot of policies, and I think that must be in the loop. I think they might announce some of them at the Impact Summit. I hope they are good. I hope they are giving more freedom to startups they want to create. Most researchers can create more things.
Sorry again, Mohit, paucity of time, but your take is it's going to be a big impactful summit.
Yeah.
So sorry of cutting you through, but we of course going to restart our discussion and continue with it when we are going to be back with Front Page. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is Mohit Pandey, as always, bringing his wonderful insights to this discussion. We are truly looking forward to this India AI Impact Summit. There are loads of things which are going to be up front and center on the stage. It's a proud moment for India. We have the international rock stars coming to this particular summit. There's so much to look forward to, and of course we are going to be covering it, and we're going to keep telling you how things will progress. Till then, like, share, subscribe, and always remember, think AI, think AIM.